What's up everyone, this is Cher talking. Welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I bring you news for Romancing SaGa Universe. We just got the announcement of two new banners, Mysteries, Exploration, Festival Razem, and Festival Apollo. Each banner has 3 new styles, and also new stage for Spiral Corridor 240 versus Kazinci, a pretty tough fight, and 3 new Spiral Corridor styles that we'll be talking about in different videos. But I want to talk about the first Razem banner that we already have all the information. Let's go straight out to Reddit. Thanks once more Hands43 for the amazing information. Just compared everything to the JP counterparts. We got buffs to all characters, even if something like status. Razem got buff to effects. First, he is a damage dealer that still has some intelligence to inherit Relief Zone if you want, or even Resonant Radiant Blade, that is a physical one, and has 92% agility. Well, some of the attacks are based on MRs, but they will still do good damage with this build. 91% will to be safe versus ailments on recent content, but nothing here is too stellar behind the STR. On turn begins, he gets this attack boost, 50% damage increase, and also a defense boost that will decrease damage taken by either 30 or 50%. JP says 50, but here it says 30. Only for that turn, but it stacks with other resources of attack and defense boost. And now on multiply of 3 turns, he would then get another attack boost of same value and another defense boost of same value. With the difference that it lasts for 2 turns. So on turn 3 and 4, he will have this available. Turn 5 he won't, and then on turn 6 he will have this available again. But turn 1 and 2 he doesn't. Battle begins with 12 BP. We'll also fuel all Overdrive Gauge. That is useful for some nuke strategies. We then grant self this Autumn Leaves in Karatsu. This is a passive that he gives to himself when allies other than himself being attacked. He gets this attack boost that increases damage potential by 10%. Lasts for 2 turns, can stack multiple times, and will recover 1 BP as well. If it's an AoE attack, it's still just 10% attack boost and 1 BP. It's permanent in battle. Now, by the end of a turn, he will recover HP by very small, around 250, and will fill OD Gauge by 25 points. When attacking, we'll always chase with skill number 1, and on overdrive attacks, chases with skill number 3. We'll talk about that in a few. He also gets weak Heat Up, that increases damage potential by 50% 4 times. That means that on turn 4, he has 200% damage increase, but only when attacking versus weak targets. On Remembrance battle, it happens all the time, but on boss fights are challenges. You will bring him for enemies that are weak to Slash and Sun. Sometimes to Blunt and Sun if you want to use Inheritance anyway. So skill number 1 is a free skill that buffs SDR and Intelligence by 25% on max. It's pretty similar to a normal attack with Slash and Sun. This is nice because you'll be using this when you don't have BP, and it will increase the damage in the long run. And, well, you get your Overdrive Gauge filled on start. That means that you already have one of these Autumn Leaves in Karatsu. And if you attack on Overdrive, you're going to chase with skill number 3. That's a skill with 4S power, only 1 hit that usually costs 12 BP, Slash and Sun, and will grant him another usage of that same passive. That means that if people are attacked, you will then get 20% attack boost for 2 turns, and also recover 2 BP instead. So, in some fights where we have multiple enemies or an enemy that attacks multiple times, you'll be building a lot of BP in order to keep using skill number 3. I recommend you to use skill number 1 when not on overdrive, and skill number 3 when you are on overdrive. If you use this as a command and then you chase, that means that you have 3 stacks. So, if you get any other character hit, you will get 3 BP instead, and he will then get 30% attack boost that lasts for 2 turns. But the next turn, he won't be that strong because, well, you will just either be using skill number 1 or skill number 3 if you build up enough BP points. But she won't be on overdrive anymore. Unless you use someone else like Label, that will give another overdrive charge, so on turn 2 he attacks again. But as you can see, it's a big hit with Slash and Sun damage. Skill number 2 is useless in the current build because they give that passive to skill number 3. In the past, he needed to use this skill to give better BP recovery, but now it is attached to the character permanent. So cycle skill 1 and skill 3, or inherit relief zone or resonant radiant blade, depending on the fight that you want to take. If you are bringing Razem for Remembrance, then you can choose depending if you want buffs or if you want damage or defense boost. But Razem is not that strong versus hard challenges, and even if he works, we'll get stronger damage dealers. He is selfish, he gives nothing to the party sadly, but a strong and competent damage dealer and has some damage, not just slash, so still has a place in the meta. Although Alkaiser is a much better character for party play. By not having any party utility in damage, still not being exactly as high as some other damage dealers, I believe he deserves a 3.5 out of 5. Now for Darius, they buffed his STR and Endurance. He has very good Endurance and Will, but he's not here to do damage at all. And he has fast skills, so agility doesn't even matter. Love and Charisma could matter, but won't matter much. First, he begins the fight by filling the overdrive gauge of all allies, including himself. And he will also grant Over Enhance, that will increase overdrive damage by 50%. He will also cast this other passive called Tokinawa. When someone attacks on overdrive, it will buff own STR, Endurance, and Agility by 15%. As you can see, it's pretty similar to what Barthélemy does, but here we have a mix of STR, Endurance, and Agility instead of STR, Dexterity, and Intelligence. It is more for physical damage dealers and not Dexterity or Intelligence based. Battle begins, he then gives this Host of the Banquet to himself, that by the end of turn he will give 15 points of OG Gauge to all allies, including himself. He will also recover 2 BP. Now, on multiply of 5 turns, that means turn 5 and then turn 10, he grants himself this Hospitality, that on turn begins he will be buffing STR and Intelligence by 15%, and then they will receive an attack boost that will increase their damage potential by 15% only for that turn. Will also start recovering 2 extra BP, that is to himself. So by turn 1 he gets 5 BP per turn, by turn 5 he gets 7 BP per turn, and then he gets the same effects again on turn 10. That means that he would then be buffing STR and Intelligence by 30%, granting an attack boost of 30% damage increase, and recover extra 2 for a max of 9 BP per turn. But it takes time to reach turn 10, depending on the fight, it will matter or not. Then he reduces damage taken by 30%, and if it's a spell attack, it will reduce then by another 40. Now, skill number 1 was buffed, it is fast now, single target, will grant a defense boost, decreases damage taken by 15%, then it will recover HP by the end of a turn, or 2 turns, by around 250. Will also instantly recover the HP by around 250, and has a 37% chance to grant this attack boost that increases damage potential by 50%, lasts for 3 turns, can stack with other sources, and a 37% chance to also grant an evasion that lasts for 1 time, that can be for 2 turns, and another 37% chance to grant 5 EP recover. All those effects are nice and all, but, well, chance. That's because it just costs 2 BP. You don't likely want to use this, sometimes it's even better to use a normal attack if you don't have enough BP to save, because the best skill is the second one. It's fast for the whole party, grants defense boost, decreasing damage taken by 25%, stacks, lasts for 3 turns, you can cast this so that you have lots of defense. Remember that Enya defense boost is also for 3 turns, only Liz has it for 4 turns and max. You would then add this HP recover by the end of a turn, recovering around 250 at least, for 2 turns, 2 times, and also instantly recover HP by around 250. So you have 3 very small healings. Remember that small heal is the average of 4 very small healings, so that's nice for 8 PP, a fast skill that gives defense boost, and it will also give 3 different effects for someone at random. Someone in the party will get a 50% attack boost that lasts for 3 turns and stacks, someone in the party will get 1 evasion, and someone in the party will get 5 VP. On the start of the fight, it's better to be for himself, but it can also help someone that needs extra VP. Sadly, it's just someone and not the whole party. Then skill number 3 is a single target slash and blunt attack that before attacking grants an attack boost that will increase damage potential by, I believe, 30% and then attack. It's not very useful. You don't want to attack with this guy, unless you want to inherit something from his past styles, There is a skill that grants 2 damage blocks. There is a skill that gives him defense up and 15% heat up. And that's it. He is a very nice support that can replace Liz, can replace Enya, can replace sometimes someone like Gathered. Sometimes you want 3 of these characters in the same party to decrease damage taken, since many times bosses have a lot of big, strong nukes and decreasing damage taken is important. And he can also act as a healer. That's why he works well. I think some people will be replacing Liz with Darius, and Darius is an X user, meaning that he will make Remembrance much easier, especially if you already have Torpe. You also have another banner with Hardy and Aisha, 2 X users, and if you want to revamp your X Remembrance team, start with Darius. He is a very good style. I'll be giving him a 4.5 out of 5 just because of problem with BP generation, but he fixes it by itself by going into further turns, but still believe it's a good grade and the best character of the banner. Then we have Creator, and Creator is here as a damage dealer, and he has 115% agility and 133% intelligence, because he just wants to do damage. And forget about everything else, because you're not going to use him for Remembrance. You could, but you shouldn't. All attacks becomes critical. AoE and area attacks will be increased by 40%, damage taken reduces by 25. If you ever think about using him on Remembrance, you can use on Deathmaster. Weak attack damage increases by 20%, starts the fight with 13, and when you defeat the target you get 10 BP. Then we have 30% increase in damage at all times and 20% extra when using MRs, and you're going to use MRs. So what we have here is a 50% increase, then 20 for 70, and then 40. 110% damage increase alongside critical, we reach 130. Pretty much similar to the latest Dentarg, but the Creator that we have now is more about doing column and row damage with Blunt and Sun. He can also use this AoE A power attack that will also probably kill enemies. It goes for Blunt and Heat, or he goes for Blunt and Sun, but Blunt and Sun attacks 2 times for either column or row. So request will be super easy with Creator, and he will be safe. Now we have some stages where the enemies are aligning in a column, some stages they are aligning in a row, but not all of them. You may still prefer to use the AoE Blunt and Heat. You can inherit other skills from past styles that also have a power like Repent, or even Purge for single target light and sun damage. So there are plenty of different applications from Creator, but he's just a farmer, and if you don't care much about farmers, you should ignore Creator. As a farmer though, he deserves a 4.5 out of 5, and as something else, well, just a 2.5 out of 5. Well, this banner is the best one, in my opinion, because of Darius being so useful. If you want to have easier time on Remembrance, you should get Darius. He will help a lot, and he is still useful for real challenges. But you can still skip this banner if you don't care too much about Remembrance, and you have someone like Barthélemy and Labelle, and can wait for other overdrive specialists. But the banner itself is still good, and I'll follow it, that I'll be giving it a Silver Plus award, but still skippable somehow. With all that said, this is my opinion for now. What is yours? Please say here in the comment section. I want to hear your opinion. I hope to see you soon in the next video or live stream. Goodbye.